Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Maloxat, senior teacher at Urgen State University. Dear students, today at our lesson, we will speak about the challenges and practices of teaching young learners and adults. The overview of the lesson is adult learners, adult teaching principles, disruptive behavior, controlling and addressing disruptive behavior, structuring the physical environment. Adult learners. Ecology. What are the characteristics of an adult classroom? Advantages. How and why can adult learners be a delight? Challenges. Why is teaching adult learners challenging? Ecology of adult learners. Multidimensional. Adults come with more relevant experience and information. Egoistic. Adults have a need to be involved in the decisions about their own learning. Simultaneous. Adults have many simultaneous engagements and struggle with balancing each. Immediate. Adults learn best when they see a direct and immediate relevance of the learning. Unpredictable. Adult learners are unpredictable. Histories. Adult learners have a past that drives their present and future endeavors. Advantages of teaching adults. Autonomous learners, they are motivated individuals, wealth of prior knowledge, clarity on direction and purpose. Challenges of teaching adults. Earlier experience leading to rigidity, time pressure, motivational issues, technological issues, back to studies mindset, difficulty in accepting external authority. Defensive and argumentative, must be told why. Adult teaching principles. When do adults best learn? Are there any underlying principles of teaching adults? What are the dimensions of adult teaching? Adults learn best when they understand why something is important to know or do the why. They see the direct usage of their learning on immediate environment, the why. They are more involved in the decisions about their own learning, the how. Learning is experiential. The what. They learn by choice, not by force. The when. The environment is positive and encouraging. The where. Principles of adult teaching. Make sure they understand why. Adults have a need to know and must have a rationale for why they need to learn a body of content. Respect different learning styles. Visual. Rely on pictures, graphs, diagrams, and illustrations. Give handouts, show diagrams and charts, and etc. Auditory. Learn best through hearing. Give short examples and ask questions, short descriptions, and etc. Kinesthetic. Learn through active experimentation and experience. Role play, solving case studies, simulations, and etc. Conducting a short learning style assessment at the beginning of a class will help the teacher know the primary learning styles of the class. Principles of adult teaching, again, we will continue to talk about. Encourage them to experience and experiment. Adult learners get easily bored as monotony sets in. They are not accommodative for the needs of fellow learners. Include individual or group activity, small group discussions, experiments, role playings, and etc. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. It's a proverb. Look carefully for teaching moments and take advantage of them. When a student says or does something that triggers a topic on your agenda, be flexible and teach or talk about it right then. If that would disturb your schedule, then teach a bit about it rather than saying it bluntly that they will have to wait until later in the program. By then, you may have lost their interest. Here, you may see dimensions of adult teaching. Ontology and praxeology and epistemology and anxiology. Disruptive behavior identifying. What are the common disruptive behaviors faced by teachers? Acknowledging what are the functions or drivers of disruptive behavior. Functional categorization of disruptive behavior. Common disruptive behaviors, they are behavioral and attitudinal and motivational. The first one, latecomers, rule breakers, question banks, the know-alls who frequently caught in between when the teacher is talking. Disengaged learners, not same as inattentive. Hostile learners who oppose everything that the teacher says. And the next one is attitudinal one, the low profiler, who is non-participative observer, the attention seekers, aggressive or defensive, who get aggressive when their points are challenged or not accepted. Dependent learners who wants help all the time. Distractible learners who can't concentrate. Resistant learners who just refuse to work. Motivational ones, disengagement or poor attendance or increased dependency or unpreparedness, and etc. Functions of disruptive behavior. Every behavior has a function. Power, revenge, attention, engagement, learning. Understanding the function of a behavior will help in knowing how to deal with that behavior. Understanding why a person exhibits a behavior is no reason to tolerate it. Functional categories of disruptive behavior. Functional categories, symptoms of them, and possible handling techniques. So attention-seeking behaviors, and the symptoms of them is attention-seeking students prefer being praised, punished, admonished, or criticized to being ignored. For example, questioning or interrupting or late coming, and etc. And possible handling techniques for them is, for example, give attention to the student only when he or she is on task and cooperating, or catch them being good and appreciate them for it. Power-seeking behaviors. Power-seeking students attempt to provoke teachers into battle of words, for example, argumentative and defensive, and etc. And the techniques for them is, in most cases, the teacher should direct attention to other members of the class. Engagement-related behaviors. They are not engaged at all with the teacher, for example, using the mobile phone or playing paper games or yawning, and etc. And the techniques for them is reminder of rules set earlier, like no use of mobiles in class, for example. Task-related punishment, implement, for example, and resume class only when the disruptive behavior is controlled. And the next one is learning related. Learners have difficulty in understanding the topic and hence stop making an effort. For example, blank look or non-participation or incomplete assignments, and etc. And techniques for them is ask learners to summarize. Assure them that you are always ready to help, provide they ask for it, and encourage participation. Dealing with off-task behaviors, do and don't. So as for do's, remain focused and calm, organize thoughts, either respond decisively or ignore it altogether. Distinguish between off-task behavior and off-task behavior patterns. Control the time and the place for dealing with off-task behavior. Provide students with dignified ways to terminate off-task behaviors. Utilize alternative lesson plans. Utilize the help of colleagues. Set clear rules and reiterate them. Explain why and how the behavior impacts the class schedule. Use negative reinforcement, stern reprimand, collective. And don't play detective. Use punishment, negative remarks or commands. Use exclusion. Use discriminative behavior, suggestive remarks and commands, criticism and aggression. Controlling and aggressing disrupting behavior. Addressing modifying disruptive behavior. Appropriate teaching techniques, basic rules to minimize disruptive behavior. Modifying disruptive behavior pattern. Principle of fading, gradual elimination of cues, triggers, prompts, and reminders. If the cues are removed too quickly, the student's response will deteriorate. Principle of extinction. Identify positive reinforcers for the behavior. Gradually remove the positive reinforcers till the behavior is modified. Establish a realistic time schedule. Evaluate the effectiveness by observing behavior. Principle of shaping. Reinforce behaviors that are similar to the behavior to be learned. Subsequent actions that are more like the behavior to be learned than the previous actions are reinforced. Subsequent actions that are less like the behavior to be learned than previous actions are not positively reinforced. Appropriate teaching techniques. Challenging behavior, possible reason, and the possible teaching techniques. Challenging behavior, first of all, it may be unpreparedness, and the possible reason for this is time pressed or low interest topic or low priority topic. And the possible teaching technique for them is emphasize but set expectations. And for example, I understand that, and however, and etc. etc. Ask someone who is prepared to debrief. Allow 10-15 minutes for preparation. Periodic quizzes and ask students to assist in teaching a select section. Inattentive. And so possible teaching technique for them is small group or individual activities. Small group activities or individual activities. Ask the inattentive student to clear another student doubt. Move closer to the student. Rearrange student sitting or have a private discussion to understand the problem. Reluctant to participate. Low confidence, unprepared, observer. These are maybe the possible reasons for them. And possible teaching techniques for them is role play, or small group activities, or ask for personal opinion, or encourage questioning, insist on questions, for example. Hostile ones, overconfidence nature needs to be accepted as the expert. Underlining fear, and acknowledge comments with empathy, listen patiently, discuss privately, allow opinion and inputs on assignments. And the next one is argumentative or question banks, and there is no any reason for this. And possible teaching techniques use constructive controllers, structured debate. Initiate discussion through others' views. Use board to list points for and against the topic of argument. Use rotating chair technique and ask learner to summarize previous comments. Use a circular discussion technique. Every learner has to give his comment. Dependent learners who wants help all the time. Slow learners learned helplessness. So maybe the reason for this, possible reason. And as for the teaching technique, easy case studies, pre-solved cases, or guided approach, or experiment-based learning. And the next one is distractible, learners who can't concentrate. And the possible reasons for them may be short attention span, or familiarity with the topic, or completely the new topic. And the possible teaching technique are short discussion and lectures, multiple activities, energizers, or opportunity to lead or moderate an activity. Resistant learners who just refuse to work, familiarity with the topic, completely new topic. Ask a learner to share his point of view. Ask a learner to summarize. Periodic checks on assignments, or counseling and empathy. Or the next one is non-participation. Shyness may be the reason,